It's the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Hey, what's up, buddy? How's it going?
It's going well. New month, new boatload of questions to get through from our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members.
All right, well, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into this question here from Alex KR. Has the explanation for Silver's time travel been firmly decided, or is it still an ongoing discussion? Following the reveal, how much do you expect to be hearing about it on this show?
As it stands as of this recording, the how has been established, but not the how of the how or the why.
I was going to say, but why, though?
There's definitely room for discussion and interpretation. I wouldn't call it set in stone until something actually says it in some form of media, be it like a Tales tube or a comic or something.
Yeah.
And I don't foresee that happening anytime in the near future.
So
no time travel humor intended.
So don't say, so if you say it, don't necessarily believe it yet. Not until it actually is said somewhere else. I
mean, that was the reason we had so much focus on Silver coming to the present in IDW and just being kind of stuck there, is so that we don't have to worry about it. He's here, he's accessible, he can do fun things. And once everything else is worked out, then we can play with those toys. But for now, we're good with just how things are. Yeah,
Silver got a limiter installed that keeps him from going above 87 miles per hour.
Roads? Where I'm from, we don't have roads.
I mean, you probably do. They're just all destroyed and ruined and no good. Oh, well. I mean, have you seen Crisis City? Here's a question from All Peachy. Hey guys, so quick question. What type of super glue does Knuckles use to put the Master Emerald back together? Asking for a friend, and definitely not because I broke something. Nope.
Zero glue. It is all based on tension. I don't mean that he has perfectly balanced the pieces so that they stay cohesive. I mean, he is so tense about the thing falling apart again, just by the sheer force of will, it stays together.
I figured he hugged it so hard, like a diamond, like squeezing a diamond, squeeze it back together like a diamond. It always happens. So what happens to all the little tiny shards that inevitably, you don't see them? Is this every time he breaks it? Is it steadily getting slightly smaller?
What is this, the Master Emerald of Theseus?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
It's the controller. It doesn't have itty-bitty shards. It has exactly however many it is per game that you collect.
Okay.
I used to know this off the top of my head.
It's made out of Pyrex. I mean, that would make sense. Why not? It's a different Master Emerald in every game. Here's one from Alpha Mono or Yukon. Food for thought, considering the fact that Eggman has made an E100 robot for every letter of the Greek alphabet. What do you suppose the naming theme would be if he decided to continue from E124 onward?
He wouldn't. That's the end of the line.
Yeah.
Omega is the end of the E100s. After that, he moved on to exponentially larger numbers with the E1000s, the E10000s, what were the model in Riders? Was that 10,000 R and E and G?
But yeah, maybe.
I mean, it doesn't quite work out because I think the phi's are off by a number.
I think
technically 0 is alpha, but point is he wouldn't go on because E123 is the end. That's the end of the line.
Yeah. So I guess it's E123. There are 24 letters in the Greek alphabet, so.
Right, but 0 is E100.
Zeros, alpha. Yeah. So it starts at 0. Starts at 0, and yeah.
I think it's row doesn't fit in anywhere, but so it goes.
Well, here's a question from Andrew D. For a while, I thought the 8-bit Sonic games with 6 Chaos Emeralds made the most sense as taking place before Sonic 2 16-bit. But with that officially no longer being the case, it actually makes sense being after Sonic and Knuckles. Did Robotnik begin researching alternate methods in order not to invoke the wrath of Super Sonic? Am I thinking too much into it, or am I onto something?
Applying too much thought to this. There was no greater collective canonical direction during that period. It was just they were churning out games and they had excuse plots.
Well, yeah.
And with Sonic Comic Origins, it firmly cemented that Sonic 1 is the first game in the series. And there was a lot of discussion about that because, technically Tails' Adventure is supposed to take place before that. And, how do you reconcile all this other stuff? But Sonic Comic Origins, Sonic Origins is the beginning now. That has been established, and everything else has to be refinagled to a degree to fit in behind that. Is it going to make super duper perfect sense? No, you can't make all those square pegs fit into all these different shaped holes. But there is an attempt being made to just say, okay, this is how we're saying it all happened, and just go from there.
When has Sonic ever made perfect canonical sense? I don't think even Sonic 1 makes perfect canonical sense. Just on its own. June 24th, 1991. That was when the canon was ruined forever. The day after. Here's a question from Ann Tails. What would generate more fan outrage? Sonic calling Amy his little sister, or Sonic calling Shadow his baby girl? I'm going to say yes.
Honestly, I think little sister would generate more fire.
Oh God, it would. Oh God, it would. Absolutely. I mean, both would generate a lot of outrage for sure, but Amy, yeah. What were we gonna say? Were you gonna say something?
Nah,
no.
I think it speaks for itself.
Okay, you don't need to dig a hole any deeper than it already is, huh?
No. I stand on the precipice and look down and say, no.
Stare into the void, Ian, and the void stares back. The void of little sister. Here's one from OzJam. A thought I had in my head for a bit relates to how characters are made. Mainly how a character is written versus how a character is designed. In terms of how a character can look appealing and have fans, but the writing leaves much to desire. An example I can best give is a comparison between Mephila's Infinite and Zavok. Does an appealing design hold more importance in creating a character, or can good writing make up for a less visually striking design? I know this is likely more of an artist-type question, but I thought I'd get your input too, as well, considering your collaboration with Adam on Drogoon.
Oh, thank you for that name drop. Teehee. They go hand in hand. I mean, ideally you have a well-rounded character that is visually appealing. But it will always be easier to sell someone on a concept visually than it is with the more nuanced writing.
Right.
The first time you see that, the first interaction you have with the character, 9 times out of 10 is going to be visual. And how they look, how they present themselves, how they are interacting in their environment upon their first appearance is going to tell you a lot about who that character is before a single word is said. Just off the top of my head, like one of the most iconic entrances is Darth Vader. You have that stark white hallway. You have the, almost skeletal white stormtroopers, and then this monolithic black shape just moves into the room with just this eerie, heavy breathing. And clearly all the carnage that just happened is in the wake of his entrance. And it's like, ooh, he doesn't have to say a word. You know exactly that this dude is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Vader as he has been written and interpreted over multiple films and media. And there's a completely different aspect to him that way. With Drogoon, when we are creating the characters, their design is informed by my writing, who the characters are, where they have been, what they are supposed to do. And when designing them, especially for book 1, Adam and I have gone back and forth a lot on how they should look when you first meet them, how you should interpret them at first glance, because that's going to be very important to how you interpret them as the story progresses and as you learn more about each and every one of them. So in that case, I'm kind of relying on the visual to kind of bait some expectation so that it can be subverted or challenged later on.
That makes sense. The full version of this question had quite a bit of talking about actually going into the comparisons of Mephiles, Infinite, and Zavok. Honestly, I think Zavok has the most interesting design of the three of them, which I don't believe was the conclusion OzJam came to, but I guess he's the most unique because Mephiles is literally just shadow with weird spikes sticking out of him. He's kind of boring. And Infinite is just a guy with a funky mask. At least Zavok is unique. But
they each suffer a little bit from being over designed.
I mean, yeah.
But Zavok does have a more striking silhouette.
Yeah.
The aspect of Zavok's design that will forever bug the crap out of me is that he doesn't have a lower jaw.
The mouth is weird.
Like the whole thing just sticks out of his clavicle.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's some kind of weird flopping puppet head sticking out of a big meaty suit of armor type of thing.
Right.
So when scripting him and I'm trying to, have him emote in any way, it's like Zavok smiles. How? How does that fang puppet smile?
With his eyes.
How does he frown? How does he growl, sneer? It's like, I felt so bad for the artist. And I think Seika just kind of let them get away with it because there's a lot of art, especially by Jack Lawrence, where he has a chin.
Yeah,
they just kind of cheated. That's fine.
Zavok is never happy. He never smiles. I mean, Mephiles has no mouth at all.
Yeah.
Kind of a shame that he has to scream.
Mephiles doesn't scream. He laughs in the delightfully hammy, wicked way. And
true.
Infinite's, I don't know. I feel like he's so monochromatic. He's boring.
He is. Me. Yeah.
And the multifaceted nature of his helmet just, one, looks like it's a pain to render in anything but a pre-made model, and it doesn't lend anything to his actual silhouette.
Yeah.
It's weird. I'm not super fond of his design. It's streamlined. He certainly looks more in line with the Sonic character than Zavok. Zavok is just weird.
Yeah.
But Zavok, I feel like, is also more immediately evocative of his character than Infinite, who, I don't know, looks like 90s Edge, got a furry avatar. I don't
know. Yeah. I think people mostly just want to see more Infinite because Liam O'Brien. And I mean, to be fair, I also want to hear more Liam O'Brien every chance I get.
That really is the only justification you need.
I mean, true.
I feel like Infinite without his mask is more interesting to look at because you have more stark black and white playing against each other. But that's just one man's opinion.
Yes. All right. Here's one from Batman69 LOL. People sometimes call James Cameron a hack for naming the MacGuffin in Avatar Unobtainium, despite the fact that this is an actual term in physics or theoretical physics. I'm not sure which to describe something that is a great metal but almost impossible to obtain. Have you made anything like that? I will be honest, this question was mainly just to tell people about the first fact that Unobtainium is a real thing and not just a stupid name. Well, it is a stupid name. I mean,
it is. It's not his fault.
Things can be real and also be stupid.
I mean, you could make an argument that he could have spent a half second with expository dialogue explaining the origin of the name, but also why would you need to? It's not really important.
No.
The important thing is that it is a extremely rare mineral, and that's why they're going to Pandora. I don't know. Coming up with a fanciful name for your rare material is intimidating, because there are some that have become so popularized by just being around for so long. Your adamantine, your orichalcum, your mithril, like they're in the popular culture, and you don't think of them as, oh, this was a nonsense word that they made up and that just happened to take. They've been around so long, they've been codified within the collective consciousness. So coming up with something new that doesn't sound like you're trying really hard to have the new hot mithril it's terrifying. So personally, I would rather kind of just fall back on the known materials. Your orichalcums, your adamantium. Well, it can't be adamantium. That's the Marvel brand. Adamantus?
Adamantine is the...
Was it adamantine? Okay.
Is the name of the real mineral, yes.
So I would fall back on those because it lends a kind of mythology to it from the get-go, and they're made-up stuff, so you can play with it however you want. It doesn't have to necessarily follow the exact rules because it's your own mythology. You're interpreting on it.
Right. I mean, James Cameron is a hack, but probably not for this reason.
Shots fired.
Yeah, well. Buttered Noodles has a question. How does the End compare to Solaris? In terms of the story, the End seems to be treated as equal or even more powerful than Solaris. But we don't really see the End do anything that compares to literally destroying all the time and space as Solaris does.
Solaris is in a completely different weight class. Sure. We're talking full-on reality melter. Whereas the End was a global devastator. That doesn't mean he's weak sauce in comparison. When you're facing either getting dropped on by a bunker buster or an A-bomb, you're going to be obliterated either way. You're in for a bad time. But if we're talking about sheer raw power level, yeah, Solaris has got to be the top out of all of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, when are we going to see these god fights in Sonic? We need some Sonic kaiju versus movies and games. Here's a question from Conga. Since Sonic enjoys reading books, does that mean school never ruined reading for him, or did he simply not go to school?
God, I'm trying to imagine Sonic sticking to a school routine.
He didn't go to school. But I don't know how he learned to read, but he didn't go to school. He's too cool for school.
Also, it was like a Montessori system.
What does that mean?
It's more of a free-flowing, let the individual student...
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry, I think I misheard what you said. But yeah, I get it.
That's the closest I can imagine that ever working. But the real question is, how did Knuckles learn to read? How does he know any common languages?
He is Knuckles.
He's been sitting on that rock his entire life.
He was born knowing how to read and to speak, most likely. Either that or to call inside the Emerald taught him.
Just whispering.
Maybe.
Little bits of information. Learning through osmosis.
Maybe. Yeah, possibly. Or maybe Chaos taught him. Wait, Chaos doesn't say anything. Never mind.
Well, there really would be drip feeding knowledge to him.
Maybe that's one of the secret powers of the Master Emerald. You touch it and suddenly you can understand languages. I mean, I don't know. Man. I don't know. How did any of them learn how to read magic? And we got a question from Cool Christy 01. In the Archie Sonic the Hedgehog comic, Mobius 25 years later, my heart goes out to Amy Rose for her love for Sonic, but she seems to be missing in action. Do you know where she is in Mobius 25 years later? And is she heartbroken that she didn't get to marry Sonic?
This falls into Lost Hedgehog Tales territory, but suffice to say, I wanted to show Amy had just become a totally awesome independent badass and had found her own happy ending, which, again, I'll get to it eventually. This was not pitched. This was not remotely set in stone, but I did have an idea of where I wanted her to go. And unfortunately, by the time I got to that era of the book or that aspect of the book, Sega started tightening their leeway on interpretations of characters.
Tightening the belt. Oof. Well, I guess on the thought of the alternate universe where Amy is just an awesome assassin, we can take a break right here on the BumbleKast. We're back with a question from Dev. Do you think we'll ever get an explanation in-game why Knuckles was able to stop Super Sonic in Sonic 3 and Knuckles? I've always had canon that it was because of Knuckles' connection to the Master Emerald, the same way he stopped them in Sonic Adventure 2 at the end of the game.
See, this I might flag as a fan idea, except I think the fandom has collectively agreed on this one.
We can't, yeah, it's been so long.
And the puzzle pieces are there. That's how I always interpreted it. I can't say it's official one way or the other, but that makes the most sense to me. Whether or not we will actually ever have something go back and directly address it, I wouldn't hold my breath waiting, but you never know.
I figure suddenly popping out of the ground and taking a fist to the face just really surprised Sonic.
That or Sonic had like exactly however many seconds worth of rings and ran out of power just as Knuckles popped him one.
Yeah, possibly. Even though isn't it canonical that the rings actually don't make a difference and the super just lasts as long as it needs to?
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Anyway, this next question is for you, Kyle, and it comes from Dice.
Oh, okay.
They say, asked Ian last time, so the question is for you, Sir Kyle. Sonic Underground is getting a reboot, but the VA can't sing in order to protect their voice. Who would be your dream singing voice for Sonic, Sonia, and Manic?
All right. I had to think about this one for a little while. I went and listened to some of the other songs, some of the Underground songs, and I think I came up with a pretty solid list of singers that can do some pretty similar voices, but I think would be much better singers, or not better singers, but like the songs would be better. Like the production value of the show would be better, I'd hope. So for Sonic, I went ahead and grabbed his theme song singer, Tony Harnell, because I think he could pull that off give him a little bit more of an edge. So I think that would work. For Sonia, I went with video game music remixer extraordinaire Lacey Johnson, who, coincidentally enough, also freaking shreds on keyboard. So, on keytar specifically. So, I thought that was appropriate. And then Manic, Weird Al. Which ties into an upcoming question, actually. But I think Manic as Weird Al would work for his singing voice. What do you think, Ian? Am I off base?
See, I defer to you when it comes to musical selection, because you know this stuff far better than anybody else. And really, any excuse to put Weird Al in a project, I'm going to be for. So, yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny. I was listening to some of the more punk-ish songs that Al has covered previously, and I'm like, yeah, I could kind of hear this working. Like, maybe. And
he's certainly a character actor. It's his life.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Here's a question from Dove. So, let's assume that Maria survived. That gun never killed her on the Ark. Did she end up a scientist? Are she and Eggman rivals? What did Shadow turn out like?
Yeah, I imagine she would have continued in the sciences. That seems to be within the Robotnik blood. And she would be a force of good and altruism. Shadow, I imagine, would be not nearly as surly as he is today. And one has to wonder, if she were around, and given how the time factors in, she could have been around to be a inspirational and nurturing source for little Ivo as he was growing up. So maybe she could have, helped curb his more egocentric eccentricities and maybe put him on a better path.
That would be nice. All right, here is a question from Fang. Recently, I've been listening to Weird Al, and I was wondering, what is your favorite song or songs by Weird Al that can include his songs from MLP and Milo Murphy's Law? Mine has to be Amish Paradise and the Captain Underpants theme from the movie.
I mean,
good choices.
Yeah, and you're really hard pressed to find a bad Weird Al song.
Yeah.
I mean, some are maybe a little catchier than others. Maybe the jokes land a little better than others, but they're all generally pretty solid.
Yeah.
Like any of the polka medleys. Cue them up. I'm on board.
They're super fun. I love the polka medleys, yeah.
I love all the parodies too, but I feel like my favorites, like ones I will actually queue up for musical sake rather than hilarity's sake,
yeah,
are some of his original stuff, like Hardware Store.
Hardware Store is his best song across the board.
It's up there.
Across the board, regardless, parody or original. A Hardware Store is the best. Absolutely.
That's your horoscope for today.
Mm-hmm.
And Mission Statement, which is a style parody, but
right,
it's still just captivating for me.
Yeah. I mean, I would have put Hardware Store on my list, but you already took it. So, but I mean, I had a hard time not listing like practically every song. Like, I mean, these are all good. Like, there's some brilliant ones. But my introduction to Weird Al was actually someone in, what was it? 5th grade. I remember. 5th grade, someone brought in the Weird Al's Bad Hair Day album and played Gump. And I was hooked. I was like, I love this. I love this. So that was my introduction. So I will always have a soft spot for Gump because of that. The Saga Begins, the best thing to come out of the prequels. Arguably, maybe the only good thing. Maybe the only good thing. Okay, I mean, there's other stuff too, but it's the best thing. I really love his version of "Lose Yourself," Couch Potato, by Eminem, because it's like it's such this like bombastic, hardcore song that's just about watching TV.
I can't hear the original now.
I can't, no.
Without it getting to the "Make Me King," and I'm in my head going, "Larry King," and I'm cracking up, and Lee's giving me the side eye going, what? Why is this line funny? It's like, no, it's never mind.
It's funny because Weird Al.
Yeah.
The Flintstones in the TV already. Wilma and Betty. It's like, why is it like this? Oh.
Shows based on reality. Oh, the humanity.
Love it. And I also love All About the Pentiums because I'm a freaking nerd, and it was either White and Nerdy or All About the Pentiums, and I think All About the Pentiums is just a better song. I mean, the original is better, so I think that's part of it. But there's so many good ones though that I could have gone. And my favorite original, this is like Al's magnum opus because it's like 12 minutes long. Albuquerque. Mm-hmm. So ridiculous. Wait a minute. I'll go check. No, we don't have any bear claws.
Now, I'm not as fond of his super long ones. I feel like the joke itself, that it's a very long song that goes nowhere, gets a little tiresome sometimes. But Albuquerque
is special.
Yeah, that's it done to a T. That's just
yes. Yeah. The long ones get a little overdone, but I mean, there's so many freaking good ones though. It's like, and it's funny that some of them are still like about topics that are still so relevant when they were made like 20, 30 years ago in some cases. It's like, oh, wow, not much has changed, huh?
And And then my dear sweet mother, she looked at me as a cow might look at an oncoming train and said, "It's good for
you." I mean, if we're going to talk about another long song, "Trapped in the Drive-Thru" is
but that's the nature of
hysterical.
the
But that's the original. Yeah, the original song is that way. But like, yeah. So, but God, that was so freaking dumb. I love it. I love it. I love them all. Love them all. All right, let's move on. We got this next question here from Gideon Wells. Among knowing smiles you can recall for anything, what is one you were excited to be able to publicly discuss?
All of them. Like, the whole reason I do a hashtag knowing smile is I want to tell you guys about this stuff because I'm excited. Because this is going to be fun and cool, and I know, or at least hope, that you're going to enjoy it too, but I can't see anything. So it's just like, here it comes. Might be in a few months, might be in a few years, but here it is. Here it comes.
What was the one you were most excited? Yeah.
Well, the hardest one, of course, was Sonic Frontiers.
I was going to say, yeah. That's the big one.
Like, to reach that peak.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that there were so many people out there that wanted me to reach that peak was just unbearable to keep my mouth shut. The Knuckles animation was another one that still gets me misty-eyed, man. To like, never mind, that's a damn good cartoon, but the fact I get to say I helped with that's just thrilling. Yeah,
I mean, those are the big ones I could think of. Those were like, oh, holy crap. Fun stuff.
You know, any of the new fun stories we got coming in IDW, the minis that have and have not been announced, even stuff like just today, well, as of this recording, Archie put out a preview of a digest story I did, and it's another little superhero pastiche, and I introduce a new villain that is just so stupid, and I love him. He's a great dumb pun villain, and a hashtag knowing smile on that one too. It's nothing earth-shattering, but it's fun, and I hope you enjoy it if you read it, and have as much fun reading it as I did putting it together.
Oh boy, another thing to look forward to. Here's a question from Hatok. Ever since the awesome Sonic Advance 3 inspired cover for IDW number 24, I've been wondering, what kind of tag actions would Tangle and Whisper provide for the characters in that game and each other, both as the leader and support, and which pairs could you see yourselves using?
Oh man, that's an exponentially large question.
Here's the thing, I have not actually played Advance 3, so I don't really have an answer for this.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I know a lot of people
I
like it.
like the combos.
Yeah, I just haven't played it. I played 1 and 2, but not 3.
Gosh, all right. So, because like Sonic, each character brought kind of their signature move as the partner, and there were some tag actions beyond that. It's been a bit since I played, so I'm kind of walking myself through the memories here. Like Sonic gave everybody a spin dash, so that's the easy one for Tangle and Whisper. They would get spin dashes that they wouldn't normally have. So it's more, and oh man, like you're asking for. Because it was Sonic, Tails, Amy, Knuckles, Cream. So that's 5 playable characters, plus 2 with Tangle and Whisper. So you're asking for 49 variations off the top of my head here. I don't know if I can do that, so we're going to generalize a little bit.
That's fine.
I mean, the simple one is the partner character for Cream would change Cheese's appearance. So we would get a Tangle Chow and a Whisper Chow out of that combo, and that would be adorable.
Someone draw those.
Like a Knuckles support to Tangle, I imagine just her tail would get a larger fist for punches. And then if you were to reverse it, maybe Tangle extends the reach of Knuckles' attacks.
I was thinking maybe she picks him up with her tail and throws him fastball special style.
Well, that would be just like the tag action in general.
Right. Okay.
Her slingshotting people. Maybe if Tangle has Tails or Cream as a partner, she can get a small, not aerial not a glide, but like she can spin her tail a couple times and get a little extra horizontal movement.
Mm-hmm.
The trickiest thing with Whisper is how do you convert her into a 2D game? Although the Advanced series did have a more robust input system than your regular classic game.
Yes, they actually used all the buttons for different things. Well, not all of them, but many of them. So
yeah, so I guess you could use her wisps in that regard. Like maybe one button is a toggle for ammo.
Maybe shoulder buttons to switch which wisp is active, and then
like your laser and your rocket and your spike, those are all projectiles, but maybe have a dedicated hammer button and a dedicated hover button.
Maybe.
So what would the other characters add?
Or just double jump for hover.
I imagine hover would work something like Tails is flying.
Oh, okay.
Short range vertical.
I was thinking
maybe
Knuckles gliding, but yeah, either way.
Well, maybe that's what their partner actions are. Is Tails gives her greater vertical mobility, whereas Cream and Knuckles give her greater horizontal mobility with the hover ability.
Maybe.
Amy would make the cube hammer especially large and destructive. Or it just straight up turns into a Whisper-themed Pico mallet, because that's what everybody else got. And we already said everybody gets a spin dash from Sonic. Okay, base is covered there. Haha.
Yay!
What would Whisper bring? What would Whisper bring to the table? Maybe everybody gets a special, like, one-off Wisp ability?
Variable Wisp ability.
Like, maybe Sonic gets something aligned to his laser dash. Amy gets a blue cube hammer effect. Knuckles gets a literal rocket punch. Bonus flight for Tails and Cream with a little extra boost from hover. Yeah, it might all work out.
I got this one from chat. It's pretty good. Tangle gets a kiss.
Oh, right. Tangle and Whisper as a duo. I mean, Tangle being able to just slingshot people with her tail seems like a universally useful power.
Yes.
In that game. It's kind of like Amy and Sonic's croquet move. So that, I figure, is universally good. Wisp power for Tangle. Ooh, I imagine Tangle normally wouldn't have a standard spin dash. She would do that kind of big cartwheel she did at the start of Imperial City.
Yeah.
So maybe Tangle and Whisper, she uniquely gets a spike upgrade to that, so she can actually kind of roll up vertical surfaces if you can time it right.
Oh, nice. Spike.
Big spiky wheel Tangle.
Yeah. Nice. All right. I think that's enough. Now that we have pitched and designed an entire game. Well, okay. Not
Sonic Advance 4, Sega, call me.
Not an entire game, but you know.
Well, there you go. Just do the full advanced collection, 1, 2, 3 in battle, and then have the bonus Tangle and Whisper component.
I mean, yeah, Tangle and Whisper should be bonus characters in every game.
Yo, Tangle and Whisper combatants in Sonic Battle?
And yeah.
I mean, that's infinitely more to do than just add additional characters, which it already would be a lot of work, but I want this now. Tangle and Whisper battle style?
But I said I
need this in my life.
I said bonus characters in every game. I didn't specify which game. It's unfortunate that sounds like a lot more work than Sega would rather do. Oh well. Here's a question from Hearts13. In a previous episode, you said that if Nicole was brought back, she would not have her HoloLinks form back and would be back to square one. But if Sega and IDW made a deal with the right people, Archie Comics, they could either buy and or rent the rights to Nicole's Lynx design. Do you think that it might be a possibility?
No, because why would they?
Not likely.
Why would they take the time for the extra paperwork and spend the extra money for something they already inherently own just to get one aspect back? It isn't good business sense. And it's heartbreaking. I like the fan in me just curls his lip and sneers at what I just said, because yeah, it's worth it. HoloLinks, Nicole, either design was fantastic. It was a great addition to the character. I deeply miss it. But practically speaking, it's not worth the time and the money it would need and the legalities needed to access it. And it would have to be something that was constantly tended to. You don't just rent an idea for one project, because then that project would be shelved forever if the licensing agreement ran out.
Right.
They would have to like buy it wholesale. And why would they? Because as much as we love Sat AM and as much fun and endearing as the Archie series was, it is still a side part of the greater franchise. And Nicole was, for the longest time, kind of tertiary. So Nicole herself is in a precarious place in coming back in general, and going the extra mile to acquire all iterations of her. I just can't see it happening. I would be extremely happy to be proven wrong. Like, for the folks who actually can make these decisions. I can't make this decision. The folks who can, like, if they did do that, if they crossed all T's, dotted all I's, got everything to align and made sure everything was hunky-dory and in the clear, and boom, we got HoloLink's Nicole back. Cool. I would happily reference this episode and say, here, this is a man who doesn't know what he's talking about, and do it with a big smile on my face. I would love to be proven wrong, completely and utterly, blown out of the water. I am begging the fates here and now before you all prove me wrong. But I don't see it happening.
You're out of line, but you're right. Here's one from Illegal Chow Fights. Are Chaos Chow considered categorically canonical? It's a shame that this question starts with A, because I like that C alliteration beyond that.
Can Chaos Chow be considered to be categorically canonical?
But then there's too many B's.
What do you want from me?
A's, B's, and C's.
They are not ? We haven't seen them in any capacity outside of the Chow Garden gameplay, and the Chow Garden gameplay is soft canon. Like, Chow exist, that's for sure. But the various forms that they can take are maybe a little more in question, and the Chaos Chows themselves are kind of maybe. So for now, I'd consider them like soft canon until they show up in something that's more narratively driven.
Makes sense that they would be soft, because they have like marshmallow consistency.
Adorable little talking flans.
Apparently Chaos Chow are in Sonic Pinball Party. What is the canon status of Sonic Pinball Party, Ian?
It is not.
What? Are you serious? Are you telling me that Sonic Pinball Party is not canon? How could you do this to me?
I also said Labyrinth wasn't canon, and then that got changed. So for now, Pinball Party is not.
Maybe you should not be so decisive in your declarations. But Sonic Pinball Party is like wherever it hinges. Everything hinges on Sonic Pinball Party, man.
Let's test the fates. See which one they prefer. We'll see which happens first. Pinball Party becomes canonical, or we get Nicole back.
Why does it have to be either or?
Because fates are cruel, Kyle.
Well, I know.
Cruel and malicious.
Yes, I know fates are cruel, and also Sega is cruel. It's not Spinball Party, it's Pinball Party. Spinball is different.
Yeah.
Spinball is canonical. Pinball Party is not, sadly. Should be. Does it even have a story? I don't even know. I don't remember. All right, here's one from Joestar SSB. I can't help but notice an influx of negativity in the Sonic community as of late. Well, it's par for the course. Post recent big media projects, it can be a bit much, and unfortunately, a lot of it is targeted at the staff working on said projects. I want to help balance this out. So, Ian, what are some of your nicest memories with the Sonic community? Anyone in particular that's made your day on any occasion? Any fans you'd like to shout out for being especially cool and kind? What's something about this community that always makes you smile?
Oh, I know that there have been turbulent waters in the past, but the Sonic fandom really is something special. Like, the longevity of this franchise and the amount of creativity and excitement it fosters has never really wavered.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even in the dark days before the Dreamcast, the fandom still carried the torch high and proud. You really cannot dissuade a Sonic fan. It's impressive. And, with each new game that comes out or new piece of media, the amount of spin-off ideas that they generate off it can be infinite. Like, when I was growing up in the fandom, I was part of it. I got to see so much of it.
Mm-hmm.
And even limiting my exposure to the material, I know it's there. And that itself is just something particularly special. Also, the generosity is profound. I have a number of things in my collection that it's either official material or handmade stuff that people have just given me at shows or in general. And for like official stuff, I've said before that publicly that finding some of the Jack specific figures is a trial where I am. And I've had people offer, I know where this is. Do you want it? I'm like, okay, that's great. How much do you want for it? I'll cover shipping and handling and everything. I'm like, nope, here it is. It's like, no, let me pay you back, please. Nope. You make me happy with Sonic, so I will make you happy with Sonic. I guess that's equivalent exchange, but jeez, man. And I'm not complaining, but please don't take it that way. I am sincerely touched by that level of generosity, and especially the handcrafted stuff. I talked about it before on the show. The foot long paper mache Buzz Bomber, the custom Lego stuff, the Archie versions of characters done with modified figures. I'm pretty sure I still have my Prelate Sonic somewhere on the display case. I really need to reorganize that. The fan art and stuff is just, and the food I have been given at shows, Kyle.
Yeah.
Cookies, fresh groceries, snacks of all kind. And, I'm smart about it. I check to make sure everything is sealed and washed beforehand because you never know. But at the end of the day, I always feel a little guilty for doubting because I haven't ever been given a real reason to doubt. Like, I've never found a razor blade in my pocket. It's always been just, here, I wanted to do a nice thing for you, and here we are at the show. Here you go. This is not me asking for people to bring me food at Fan Expo this year. I'm just saying it's appreciated. And the interaction with I was going to say the young fans, but any of the fans, really, where, I've had people come up in every age bracket that are like, oh my gosh, it's Ian Flynn. I just want to say hi to you. And it's like, please calm down. I am not that important. You do not need to be nervous or scared around me. I am not that high on a pedestal. I am flattered that you even know who I am. So thank you for coming by. And the absolute pinnacle of it, all of this is great. All of this is tremendous. But I think the proudest moment I have in any kind of interactions is the number of parents I've met who have said that their kid was behind on reading, found the Sonic books, and caught back up or excel. It went further than they were supposed to.
Yeah.
That whatever it is about Sonic got them interested in reading and made them want to learn and engage and improve. And that validates my existence. I was put here for that reason, I guess, to help a handful of folks. And that gives me the warm and fuzzies. That just makes me happy.
Yeah. Sonic is absolutely something that kids get just super excited about and want to read. So that's amazing. It's excellent. I think that's how Knuckles learned how to read. Yes. He read your comics, Ian. That's it. That's what he did.
So yeah, I wouldn't say there's a new influx of negativity. It comes in waves, I guess, but and there are certainly less than welcoming aspects of it. But I still maintain, warts and all, it's one of the best fandoms out there.
If you want to,
for nothing else, it's passion.
Yeah. If you want to get away from the negativity, I'd say just get off Twitter, honestly.
Yeah.
That's where most of it is. And yeah, just get off Twitter. That's going to be, I think, the easiest way. But I mean, the generosity of fans is why we are here in the first place, Ian, doing this show and having done it for over 400 episodes, I think, by now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for for being so amazing as you are. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. Here's a question from Levi C. For archiving information on wikis, I want to know if Cream and most of the Zeti did fully transform into Zombots, or did Sonic and Silver cure them before their transformations were completed?
Given the timing of everything and how far along we saw them, for the Deadly Six, I mean, Zavok aside, clearly, but for the Deadly Six, since they were such vile individuals, I'm going to say they got fully infected and they had a bad time of it. Cream? See, I already thought it was bad enough where we left off with them, but now that you put the idea in my head, I guess she fully converted. And so for a few very tense moments, Gemerald was just holding onto this writhing, violent ball of metallic anger and not letting her go so she didn't get lost or hurt somewhere until she was turned back to normal.
Oh, boy. Well, all right. I guess that's one way to end the show.
I would kind of wish we'd done the other question first in the higher
note. You know, alphabetical order. Sometimes I'll move questions around a little bit. Maybe I should have done that, but you know what? Oh, well. Here we are. This is how we're ending it. So let's end it. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, it's going to wrap us up. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Cream, no. What have you done, Ian? You monster.
Yeah.
I get the feeling you're saying you're welcome.
No, it actually makes me sad.
Well, why did you do it?
Because it was good.
Okay. I suppose.
But it's sad.
It was bad for Cream.
Yeah, but she's not real.
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, Sonic dies thousands of times every time someone plays through a game with him, so...
Making canon snarls?
You're snarling the cannon, Ian.
I thought you meant more like Sonic sounds like this. Shadow sounds like this.
No, not literal snarls, just cannon snarls.
Gross. Snarl even.
Yes.
That one's not.
Spin dashing into utter despair. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
I will quite happily take all my misadventures instead of living in Arizona where it's how many hundreds of degrees right now?
1 million.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it cooled down a little bit, which by which I mean it's like finally under 110.
Good Christ almighty.
July, we broke the record, Ian. We broke the record the entire month of July, the 1st to the 31st. Over 110 degrees every single day.
And you're moving into August now. Oh, God.
Well, it's actually going to be a little cooler. It might finally actually like rain a little bit. We might finally actually get some of that good old Arizona monsoon, which will not only make it hot, but also humid for a little bit. But oh well.
No.
That might cool things down slightly. But I mean, you know all about humidity being from North Carolina, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, we like when we went to see my family in June, it wasn't even like North Carolina muggy. It was just like your standard North Carolina hot with that hint of muggy. And it's like, no, I can't. How did I live in this? How did I survive?
I don't know.
Absolutely. It can be here. Toronto can be muggy. Absolutely. But
yeah,
in comparison, no. I like it up here.
Yeah. Well, trying to think. What was I going to say? I've been to South Carolina in June. Never again.
Mm-hmm.
Never again. Never again. Never. You will have to drag me kicking and screaming to the South in the summer, because I ain't doing it.
That reminds me. While I was out and about today, I saw a Jeep from Florida.
Wow.
That's a long way from home.
Made quite the trek. I see a lot of cars from a lot of different places. I saw an Ohio plate earlier this week. It's like, Ohio's really far. Ohio is really far from Arizona.
Yeah, but Ohioans seem to travel all the damn time. Like whenever we're traveling, or when we would travel, that would be one of the most common plates I would see. Like you don't see West Virginias or Virginias or Kentuckies or even North Carolina's. Like you'll see the odd New York plate up here. That makes sense.
Yes.
Very rarely you'll see Jersey, but Ohio, which I guess makes enough sense.
It's right there
on the too. But I don't know. I just feel like I see Ohio plates more when I travel than any other state. It's weird.
Well, I mean, you're also on the side of the country that Ohio is on. I am not. I do not see Ohio plates. They're very rare.
We've seen a couple of California plates.
Well, that kind of makes sense. There's just so many people in California that, eventually you're going to at least encounter one.
I feel like we saw recently, it was like a Wyoming or a Wisconsin or something that's like... It was Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
Yeah. A Wisconsin plate. That's like, that's neat.
Yeah. Well, Wisconsin's right there, too. Just got to go over the lake. Yeah, it's not far. It's not too far.
It's like refresh my memory here.
Right next It's like right next to Michigan.
Yeah, it's holding Michigan's finger hostage.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I see a ton of California plates constantly.
Well, yeah.
Which makes sense.
Jeez. Looking at the map here, I know Ontario is huge, but the fact that it goes from like...
It's massive.
Technically New York State, maybe a little bit of New Hampshire.
Yeah.
All the way to Minnesota. It's nuts.
Toronto? Or Ontario, you mean?
Yeah, I meant Ontario, sorry.
Okay. I was going to say, like, I know the city's huge, but it's not that huge.
Well, I mean, it's the center of the universe. Why would you care otherwise?
I know. Every province in Canada is huge, except for the tiny one. Yes, those ones. Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
Nova Scotia, New Brunswick.
Nova Scotia, yeah.
PEI.
Yeah. New York City's gigantic. Toronto is huge. I think the only city I've been to that's bigger than Toronto is LA. And that's just pure surface area. I think there's more people in Toronto, but maybe not. Could be wrong about that.
I'd have to actually look at numbers.
But I mean, LA is just like a massive sprawl of just endless asphalt.